you so much for serving as the chairman of the academic committee for this project. And this project, what MSSR has visualized to build the capacity of different stakeholders in the better management of rivers of India. So we have taken up Pampa as an example. And your lecture on that methodology, DPSIR. So this methodology in particular, when we listened, we could see that this is very critical for any stakeholder who wants to monitor the health or to manage the health system. According to you, whether this kind of a scientific methodology, do we adopt seriously in the river health monitoring in India?
Not exactly. So basically, as we all know, the entire river systems in India is degenerating due to various reasons. And Kerala in particular, the degeneration intensity is very high. But state of the environment for domains are getting popular, but for ecosystems it is not getting popular. Whether it is a state of environment report or an environmental impact assessment, all these are considered to be a very good communication tool to communicate the science behind environmental conservation. So in that sense, the DPSR format for preparing the state of the environment of the river ecosystem is considered to be a very good tool for communicating the issues, the driving forces, the pressure that the ecosystem faces, the status of the ecosystem, the impacts that affect the ecosystem in different types, the reversible, the adverse, beneficial, the long-term, short-term, that type of different types of impacts that work on the ecosystem, etc., can be communicated very easily with local people who are actually the custodians of the river system. And also with the local panchayats, who, without them, the rejuvenation or protection or management of health of river is impossible. So this is considered to be a very good tool for communicating the system to them. In fact, they themselves, with the different orientation, they themselves will be able to use such tools like green appraisal tool or the DPSIR tool. So I consider that it is very important to communicate such tools for people to take up the causes of river degradation and work on it for developing plans and programs for rejuvenation of rivers.
Thank you. So, when we train these people, now the 5 days training program, when they go back, what would you see, how the hand-holding can happen? Whether, when I look into this kind of a training program, there are two things. One is, we want normally the science dimension, we want much integrate with the methodology. If at all we integrate science dimension, people may not easily absorb it. I could see from the participant when it is too technical, people might say. But the science, then that sense, are we effectively reaching out to the stakeholder with the scientific principles? That's one. Second thing, whether these people's participation, though we say people have to be effectively participated, unless there is a participation between scientists and the people, the implementation may not be effective. So how do you see the twin issue, the science, taking science principles for the capacity development and for the people's empowerment? How do you see in India's situation?
Now, there are two things. One aspect is the way in which you have scheduled your training program. See, you talk about the recipe for river health management, and you talk about the sort of indexing as to how it should be looked at, and you also plan to provide them a tool as to how they should understand the river system and plan for mitigating the impact and rejuvenating to the system, and then how it can be taken to the people. So all this, and then most importantly, after this communication, you are taking them to the field to understand themselves or delineate by themselves the issues of the system and then assess themselves. And so that is a sort of a total package that you are giving. It's very interesting. So naturally, the people do internalize the sort of requirement that they need to meet for managing the health of river. That's one thing. Once they understand that or internalize that, it is easy for them to communicate with people. They may not be directly communicating with people, but then there are occasions where they may have the interview. It is no doubt that whoever attends this training program, they will certainly come across some sort of issues with the river or the streams or the tributaries of the rivers and things like that. Such systems, naturally, they will have opinion and they will be able to communicate this opinion with the panchayats or the district authorities or the state authorities, whichever way they act in their capacity when they work as a professional. And this realization do help them not only to communicate with the authorities in developing a policy or action plan, it will also help them to communicate with the people the importance of that. So we in the training program talk about many of the scientific triggers that they need to, thereby we can bring in people to understand the importance of rejuvenation. These triggers do help them, or this communication will help them to take the local trigger and how it works with the local people and things like that. So certainly they will become an asset when they face the problem of river degeneration in terms of river pollution or in terms of reducing water level and all these things. And when the panchayats and other local people want to plan a river rejuvenation program or stream rejuvenation program or even a pond rejuvenation program, these people will be very handy for them to plan. So that way it will have. And one thing, such a sort of integrated training program is very, very rare, because normally the institutions who are good at hydrology and all, they talk of the scientific aspects. And other NGOs, they talk only about the organization of the people and things like that. Here they get a mix of things. The science, the way in which science has to be communicated, the tool for communicating science, tool for assessment of the issues, and also how a trigger can be identified and work with the people. And you are taking them also to the field and making them to internalize the issues and how they will be able to address the issues.
Okay. So my last question, so this project is funded by the Asia Pacific Network on Global Change Research. So they look for the networking between the governments, the national governments of the region. Do you think the India's experience we can share with the neighboring countries like Nepal or Sri Lanka? Because if you see, take Nepal for example, we depend on Nepal for our water system. How this, the interstate management, where this kind of an experience, for example, this kind of a training, can you take it up? The larger
certainly, there are demands from all these countries that you named, like in Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bhutan, and all, where the rivers are getting degenerated because of higher polluted input into the river system in the urban areas. So all of them look for action plans and implementation of the action plans and things like that. But up to the action plans, probably they may be able to do, but then the implementation part they fail, because the action plans, unless and until the action plans are communicated well, the implementation will not happen as we want. So naturally, this particular training, the internalization is on everything. How to understand the river, what are the importance of river, and what do we mean by health of a river system, and how to assess the health of a river system, and what are the issues that faces the health of the river system, and then mitigation of the impacts due to the worsening health of river system, and the action plan for mitigating the impacts. All these things are communicated and taken to the field. So certainly, these countries will certainly be benefited from the sort of resource persons that we develop from this training. Uh, Not only these countries, even our own country, the different states do require this thing. So if you go across the country, certainly we can find out the parallels of Kerala rivers in various states, which require to be protected, conserved, and also certainly it's an excellent training program. I wish that it continues, even if from Kerala or in other states, it has to continue, and for which this resource person support would be helpful.
So thank you so much. So what we can conclude is this sort of packed training program with both science and strategic principles and the practices experience. We can share this with not only the other states of India, but we can also have this experience shared with the neighboring countries like Nepal, Bhutan, and Sri Lanka. So with this, we close this discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.